This episode of The Young Turks, brought to you by Thrillist.
Something curious happened today. Rush Limbaugh seemed to give credit to President Obama. That's strange. Well, let's listen and see if, in fact, he did do that. Let's go to the first clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need to open the program today by congratulating President Obama. President Obama has done something extremely effective, and when he does, this needs to be pointed out. President Obama has continued the Bush policies of keeping a military presence in the Middle East. He did not scrub the mission to get Bin Laden. In fact, it may be that President Obama single-handedly came up with the technique in order to pull this off. You see, the military wanted to go in there and bomb, like they always do. They wanted to go in there and drop missiles and launch bombs, a number of totally destructive techniques here. But President Obama, perhaps the only qualified member in the room to deal with this, insisted on the special forces. No one else thought of that. President Obama, not a single intelligence advisor, not a single national security advisor, not a single military advisor came up with the idea of using SEAL Team 6 or any of the special forces. Our military wanted to go in there and just scorch the earth, leaving no evidence of anything after the mission. But President Obama single-handedly understood what was at stake here. He alone understood the need to get DNA to prove the death. Obama alone understood the aftermath, alone understood that there would be doubting Thomases if the place was just obliterated and no evidence was to be found. Not one member of the according to news reports, not one member of the military, not General Petraeus, nobody in the intel community, nobody had the slightest idea of going in there and using special forces. It was President Obama, single-handedly and alone, who came up with the strategy that brought about the effective assassination of Osama Bin Laden.
What? So I'm trying to figure this thing out, right? Because you think, look, maybe the guy has at least a shred of sense that on a day like this, you don't oppose President Obama, who clearly did something right here, and he's given the guy credit. But that whole insistence that it was President Obama alone, I was like, that's really weird, right? Because that's not even true. You know, did President Obama make the right decision in pursuing that path over the others? Absolutely. Was he the only person who came up with that? I didn't see any reporting on that. There was nobody saying that, no, he's like, wait a minute, I've got something nobody ever thought of, right? So I'm like, why is he giving him too much credit? I'm like, is this a setup? Is it a trap for later saying, aha, since I already told you he was the only one who made the decision, let me tell you something else. And then, of course, what you're thinking is the guy being sarcastic. But upon first hearing of it, it doesn't sound that sarcastic. Remember, in the beginning, he said he was just following Bush's policies, which is now the standard Republican talking point for why Republicans should get credit for not capturing bin Laden and for Obama capturing it, right? So is it sarcastic? Is it not? I don't know. We got one more clip for you here where he continues.
And guess what? It was, again, Obama who deserves praise of continuing the Bush policies at Guantanamo Bay. I told you that this administration would never close Guantanamo Bay. And it was the intelligence we gathered among the detainees at Guantanamo Bay that led us to this enlarged hut that's called a mansion outside Islamabad. Detainees who may have been waterboarded. And again, we need to never forget that President Obama deserves praise for continuing the policies established by George W. Bush, which led to the learning, the acquisition of this intel that led us to the enlarged hut. Last summer, it was suggested that we go in and get bin Laden, and Obama, even then, knowing full well, and the only one in the room knowing that the military's way, going in there and bombing this thing, wasn't the way to work. Thank God for President Obama.
A double. What? Okay. Now, the thing is, if you were going with the sarcastic thing, why would he make the serious points about, you know, it was him following Bush's policy, him, you know, doing Guantanamo, the waterboarding, calling the thing a hut? If he's being sarcastic, it's really well hidden. It doesn't make too much sense, right? Now, what happens in the meanwhile is that's in the beginning of his show, and then all of a sudden these headlines come out. Obama saying Rush Limbaugh saying thank God for Obama, and President Obama did it, etc. So then he has this bizarre explanation where he does all this fake laughter, etc. Let's see if we can decipher it together. Watch.
I have to tell you, it's been a learning experience for me. TheHill.com, it's also at Mediaite and some other places. Limbaugh commends Obama for getting bin Laden and bringing back proof. Conservative firebrand and frequent critic of the president, Rush Limbaugh, on Monday praised Obama for his effective strategy that resulted in the killing of bin Laden. Reacting to Obama's announcement that the U.S. strike team had killed and recovered the body of bin Laden, Limbaugh said Obama deserved credit for the operation and credit for retaining some policies of the Bush administration that resulted in his capture. And then they quote me, "We need to open the program today by congratulating President Obama. President Obama has done something extremely effective. He has continued the Bush policies of keeping a military presence in the Middle East." Limbaugh said that Obama deserved praise for keeping the prison at Guantanamo Bay open, which, according to Limbaugh, helped American intelligence locate bin Laden. Limbaugh added that Obama was clearly the only one who wanted to Limbaugh added that Obama was clearly the only one who wanted to send an actual team in to hunt down bin Laden, and that most of the military brass just wanted to scorch the place where the terrorist had been staying. Limbaugh's comments come after Limbaugh's comments come after regaining my composure. Limbaugh's comments come after reports that Obama had rejected a plan to bomb the facility where bin Laden was staying. According to those reports, Obama wanted proof that bin Laden had been killed. Limbaugh praised Obama for choosing to send a team, contrary, Limbaugh said, to what Obama's military advisors wanted.
I have to congratulate Rush Limbaugh. That was the single most fake laugh I have ever heard in my entire life. Nicely done. So, final conclusion, I think he's on something. And now we have a new sponsor, Thrillist. They're very cool because they hook you up with really interesting things going on in your town or any town you might be in that you don't know about.
Right. They also let you know where the best restaurants, bars, venues are.
Thrillist.com/TYT.